Hi everyone, my name is Justine Stephanson, and today in my presentation I'm to present my findings to my research question, what should early year teachers focus on to promote literacy development? I chose this topic because I wanted to learn about literacy development and how to promote literacy in my classroom. Before I begin my presentation, I want you to reflect about your own experience as a student and as an educator. How did your teachers promote literacy development when you were growing up? As an educator, how do you promote literacy development in your classroom? Do you know the necessary components to include in planning to promote high-quality literacy development? Today in my presentation, I'm going to present my research on literacy development in the early years and the themes that came out through my research that need to be focused on when promoting literacy development in classrooms. While researching literacy development in the early years, the stages of reading development were discussed in the literature reviews and the research that I read. If teachers know the stages, it will help them plan for more meaningful instruction. I'm going to outline some of the key understandings that stood out in my mind from stage 0 to stage 3 to help give a clearer picture and give you some background knowledge on how students develop literacy skills through their early years and in education. Pre-reading stage 0, children 6 months to 6 years of age, the focus is on emergent literacy skills. Stage 1, initial reading and decoding, children 6 to 7 years of age. During this stage, there's more of a focus on phonemic principles, onsets and rhymes, and spoken syllables and phonics. Alphabet knowledge is also vital as it's a prerequisite for fluency. Stage 2, confirmation and fluency, children 7 to 8 years of age. Students need to read familiar stories to increase fluency and continue to build automaticity in sight words and build comprehension. And that's very important in my classroom. Stage 3, reading for learning the new. Students who are 8 to 14 years of age, the students' focus is reading different types of text to get to know knowledge in a variety of content areas. And this is where the focus changes from the learning to read to reading to learn. Learning to read requires students to move through a series of developmental stages that overlap. One study outlined 3 major areas found to be critically important to the development of early and emerging literacy skills: a strong foundation in oral language, an awareness of sound, structure of language, and much exposure and experience with print. I'm going to go through 7 areas that I believe from my own experiences and through my research that need to be included when teachers plan literacy development in their classrooms. Children's literature. During my research, the different authors and researchers talk about quality children's literature. They discuss how there's a connection to literacy development and reading out loud to children. It was stated that teachers' knowledge of children's literature is an integral part of any language arts curriculum. Students learn and develop emergent literacy through being exposed to quality literature. This helps build this framework for teaching fluency and for literacy. Oral language. Teachers who educate young students must concentrate on helping students develop both the oral language and emergent literacy skills that have been shown to facilitate learning how to read. Teaching students oral language is important because the knowledge and processes children use in language are similar to the reading, since reading is a language-based skill. When reading to students, I believe teachers need to make comments, ask questions, and respond to students when they are curious about the words in the story. Talking about the pictures, I believe, in my classroom also helped my students develop comprehension and develop vocabulary. Reading out loud to students. Reading out loud can form bonds through read out louds to learn language, play with ideas, and build trust and understanding. Read out louds are one way to promote the use of vocabulary to describe emotions, encourage empathy and caring between students. Children need to listen to stories and have discussions. Language is a powerful predictor for early reading success, which I totally believe. Zambo and Hansen discuss books with song-like features, repetitive parts, and rhymes invite children to play with language and experiment with the sounds of words. Regular read-out-louds establish times for toddlers and caregivers to connect socially, emotionally, cognitively, and physically. Therefore, teachers can educate to the whole child by reading and teaching using quality literature. Building vocabulary through literacy talk. During my research, many authors discuss children who participate in read-aloud experiences often develop positive relationships toward reading and demonstrate continued growth in literacy development. It is the discussions, questions, and responses after the read out louds that encourages and promotes literacy development. Having conversations and dialogue is a natural way for students to learn and construct meaning. Listening to stories also helps students to improve their vocabulary and learn new words. By providing time for discussions after reading, students can learn from other people's ideas and understandings to the story and help gain new perspectives. Literacy talk has been very beneficial in my classroom through their allowing them to build vocabulary skills. Reading fluency and comprehension. Teachers who build oral fluency and literacy through modeling what good reading looks like and sounds like to their students through expressive read-alouds every day. Reading fluency is a key component of effective literacy instruction, at least through the elementary grades, and students need to receive this instruction on a regular basis throughout the year. When students learn to read with expression and use correct phrasing, the reader is able to convey and construct meaning with his or her voice. This helps connect the text and helps them with comprehension of what they read. And this is something we've been focusing on a lot in my grade 2 classroom. Phonological awareness is another part and aspect of the emergent literacy. This awareness is the understanding that oral language is made up of sounds and groups of sounds. Using storybooks to teach phonological awareness makes the learning more meaningful and can help students to make connections to print. First, students need to learn about the different lengths of sentences, identify compound words, and learn about syllables. After, students can begin to work on their blending skills, learn about phonemes, and then need to put the sounds together to form words. Finally, students can learn about segmenting words into phonemes. Educators who provide time for students to practice blending and segmenting words is very important. Teachers who use words that were in the stories can allow for learning to be very meaningful. Environmental print is finally the addition to phonological awareness literacy development is dependent on the understanding of certain basic insights and observations about the forms and functions of print. Students need to be exposed to a lot of environmental print and make connections and different forms of print all around them. When teachers reading, they need to point to the words, as it is imperative for students to make connections to the words in speech and understand why there are spaces between words and learn about reading from top to bottom, left to right. It's important that students learn about letters in a variety of ways, and students need to use manipulatives. Children using their strategies learning oral language can help them make sense of environmental print. During my research, I came across an interesting quantitative study where teachers in kindergarten through grade 3 were assessed in their reading knowledge. They thought they were knowledgeable based on these perceptions in their teaching, completing the survey. However, the teachers revealed a low score on the knowledge-based section. The author stated teachers who cannot teach what they do not know. I think it's vital for teachers to be knowledgeable in literacy development to provide the best opportunities for their students. If they're missing key understandings, they need to take part of PLCs or collaborate with other teachers or other professionals such as speech pathologists. In our school, we took part in a PLC to build knowledge on fluency, and that was very successful. In conclusion, children who are provided with numerous and varied opportunities to talk, tell stories, and read storybooks, draw, and write are generally successful in the learning to read and write. I believe teachers need to be knowledgeable in these 7 areas that I discussed in order to optimize literacy development in their classrooms. Children need teachers who offer a variety of literacy opportunities throughout the day using curriculum that is meaningful, engaging, and cognitively challenging for the range of abilities and interests. Thank you very much for listening.